stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 101.7 FM and 1510 AM, W269 DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
101.7 The Truth. It's time to officially tap in with your girl, Jazz Tyler. Happy Monday, Milwaukee. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Hope you had an incredible weekend. For once, I was able to take some time for myself, my family, chill out a little bit, stay out the way. Again, happy Monday. Thank you all so much for tapping in. Today, we are going to get right down to business. There's a lot going on. We know that it's elections week. But I want to speak about something that hits home personally for me as not just an educator, but as a mother who has 3 children who have been in multiple different school districts. And what I mean by that is my children were in 3 different school districts while they all were in school at the same time. And the reasoning being is because they learn different. They have different personalities, and different talents. And we're going to get more into that. But the question that I have for you all today is, who gets to choose a child's future, right? School choice, poverty, the parent choice, opportunity, and the fight over who gets access. When choice really isn't a choice. The conversation we're having today is not political, trying to make it political without making it partisan. But underneath all of the campaign speeches and the talking points, there's a lot of arguments about vouchers, public schools, private schools, and funding. And there is a child that somehow gets lost inside of all of the rhetoric. So I want to strip all of the politics away for a minute and ask something much simpler. My hard question for this hour, Truth Nation, is who gets to decide where a child should go to school? Is it the government? Is it the school district? Is it a zip code? Or is it the parent who had that child and gets that child up every day for school? Wealthy parents, they already have a choice when it comes to what their child future looks like, right? If a wealthy family doesn't like the neighborhood school, they can move, they can buy a home in another district. They can pay tuition, they can hire tutors, they can choose private school, boarding school, college prep, but they have a choice. There's options, right? Not just with school, but we know when money is involved in finances and when you are able to live a certain type of life, choices present themselves. And whatever it is that you disagree with or don't necessarily like, you have the ability to make a choice. And that choice that you make is going to determine the future of not just your child, but your family. But when we're talking about the family who lives in the outer city, and when I say outer, rest in peace to Tupac, we're talking about the inner city, but we say outer because the inner city is left out of everything. When we're talking about a family who lives in the outer city in poverty, and they say this school not working for my child, I need another option. Suddenly we want to have a debate about whether she deserves to have that choice. As if majority of our lives, when I say us, I mean Black people overall who have lived in poverty, majority of our choices has not been made by us. Majority of our choices has always been made by the government, right? We already know this, dating back to when welfare started and it pushed the Black man out the household, right? To when you sign that birth certificate and your child is now property of the state. If you're on state assistance for healthcare and EBT, you still don't have a choice. And this isn't a slander because we know what we've been through as a people in this country. We know that we were not given equal opportunities initially and that we have to do what we have to do. But the reality is, when it comes to us as a people, a lot of our lives, there is something or someone or an entity or a branch of government that is constantly and consistently making the choices for us. And that is where today's conversation begin, right? I think that oftentimes we utilize the word choice inappropriately, right? For some families, choice mean which excellent school do we prefer? For other families, choice mean what option which option is best for my child to make it out of these circumstances, right? Growing up, how many people do you know that lived in the same neighborhood as you, but because they had a talent, they were able to go to a school outside of the neighborhood, right? Or that may be the case for you and your family, especially if you have students who play sports, whether it's basketball, football, whether they play volleyball, or if they're simply just in a music program and they have a talent. Some of these schools you couldn't even get into, even some public schools you couldn't get into unless you were picked, right? You had to apply. Similar to Go to My Year, similar to, shout out to my Samuel Morris Middle School alumni, we had to write an essay. We had to have a certain amount of grades and a certain GPA in order to be enrolled inside of the gifted and talented school. If you went to High School of the Arts, you had to have some type of talent in order to get into that school, right? So we still seeing some of that inside of the public school system. But for a lot of families who are currently living or has lived in the outer city in poverty, 9 times out of 10, when we say, hey, I need my baby to go to a different school, is safety. Is because a lot of times our children only way out may be a scholarship if they play basketball or football. Not to say that academics isn't important, right? But initially, for a child who is living in the outer city, a child who is mature in their mind, that is in high school specifically, they feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. They feel that's when a child becomes old enough to say, I got to get my mama up out this house. I got to take my family out this hood, right? Basketball is going to take me there. Football is going to take me there. My academics is going to take me there. But if I'm stranded based off of the neighborhood school, and I know that I'm smarter than that, or there's better resources outside of that, I may not have that opportunity. And these are two different realities, right? Families who can't relocate, families who have transportation barriers. So a lot of people don't understand when some of the private schools and the scholarship and the way that it works, there are more resources as it pertains to covering transportations. Parents working multiple jobs, children who neighborhood schools may not meet their individual needs, children who need smaller environments, discipline, arts, athletics, specialized programming, and the fact that no single educational model works for every child. I am a huge advocate for this because I witnessed it firsthand with my 3 children, right? And it was a very, very difficult time in my life because I was extremely tired, waking up 2.5 to 3 hours early before work just to drive an hour and a half to drop all 3 of my children off in different schools because it did not work for them all to be in one school. They all learned differently. They all had different personalities. They all have different talents, right? It didn't make sense for me. I tried it. I tried all my children going to the same school. It doesn't work for everybody. So having that choice is why my daughter is able to receive a scholarship and attend Mount Mary University. Having that choice is why my son was second team all conference his freshman year playing basketball at a public school. That choice is why my youngest daughter was able to attend a private school. And now she's on a 5th grade level and she's just now reaching the 4th grade. So when we talk about choices, especially when it comes to the educational piece, I think it's very insulting to take away a choice from a parent who knows what it means for their child or their children to obtain a specific education outside of the norm, outside of their neighborhood. You can't judge people in the way they learn based off of where they live, because that's exactly how it comes out. Because they live in this zip code, because they live in this district, they need to go to this school. Okay, well, if that's the case, then make sure y'all are pouring the resources into that neighborhood school. But what you're not going to do is tell me that my children have to go to a school in a neighborhood that is not even safe for them to walk to school. A school, it doesn't even have the resources it need in order to help these babies become successful. You're not going to tell me that I have to do that and not provide an alternative option, right? There has to be an alternative option in order for our babies, specifically Black and brown babies, to be successful. And it's not anyone's fault. Everyone didn't grow up, with things being handed down to them by their families. Everyone is not a trust fund baby, right? We're all trying to figure this thing out. So my call to action is, again, one of the questions I have for you all, did changing schools ever change your life or your child's life? 833-212-1017. How many of y'all went to private school or went to a school outside of your district and it changed your life? We got to go to break. When we come back, I want to deal with something people rarely say out loud. America always has a choice. The question is whether people in poverty should have one too. And I'll explain what that means right after this break. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Yi Leng Zhang was born in Warsaw, the son of refugees who fled communism in search of freedom. His parents taught him that freedom comes with responsibility. And for Yi, that means being accountable to every person he serves. School board treasurer, county supervisor, village trustee, a nonprofit leader. Yi Leng Zhang has managed multi-million-dollar taxpayer budgets at every level. And now he's ready to be a watchdog for Wisconsin. That's why Yi is endorsed by Senator Tammy Baldwin. Baldwin says Yi brings, quote, real budget experience from the school board, the county board, and the nonprofit world. She says he'll, quote, protect our school trust funds, return unclaimed money to families who earned it, and bring accountability to an office that demands it. Yi Leng Zhang for state treasurer, a watchdog for your money.
Paid for by Yi for Wisconsin.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live.
101.7 The Truth. You are officially tapped in with your girl, Jazz Tyler. Welcome back. Milwaukee, before the break, I made a statement that may have bothered some people. I said, America always has a school choice, and I stand on that because money has always purchased educational freedom, right? Whether or not our people has access to it is a different conversation. But there's a reason why I'm saying this specifically. Before we went to break, one of the questions that I asked is, did changing schools ever change your life or your child's life? We have a caller on the line. Al, are you there?
Yes. Well, I know when Reagan was in there, you used to be able to go to college for free. And I do know over in Israel, and when the kids are born, they get money that goes into an account until they're 18. So you can either start a business or go to school. But I wanted to ask you a question because I be having these deep-rooted conversations with my friends. This one is sometimes I feel poverty is a mindset, and some people choose to be in poverty. And then the second one is where they always say the government took the man out of the household. Now, I feel like if you have a man, there should be no need for you to be on welfare of any kind. And I understand everybody's situation is different. But when I looked at my mother, when she graduated from high school, she went straight to work. She wasn't getting no 673 or getting pregnant to get an extra $300 or anything of that nature. And I understand everybody's situation is different. And I understand when my grandfather came down here, he barely had an education, and they had about 14 kids. And she wasn't playing that welfare stuff neither. So I kind of like sometimes when I hear this, people say, well, they say government took the man out the household. Well, I'm like, well, if you have a man and he's making all these kids, why would he want you to go on welfare anyway?
So I will talk about that. Before I do, I want to ask you a question. Has changing schools ever changed your life, Al, or your child's life?
No, because I went to public.
Okay.
But I was always an independent thinker as well.
Got you.
But I'm pretty sure it's better, in private because it's more diversity and they do, a little more. But sometimes I feel it is the parents' job to provide the best education within their means, or if there's another opportunity, use the other opportunity. Because, white folks use all kind of opportunities. Some of them was even doing welfare fraud, or even down in New Jersey where they was having 7 to 14 kids. Yeah. And the man was in the house. Absolutely. And they was on welfare, and none of them was black. Absolutely. And they barely could speak English.
I understand that. Thank you so much for calling out.
And one more thing, and they wasn't Mexican either.
Come on now. Say it.
All right, I'll hang up and listen. Okay.
Thank you so much for tapping in, okay. Al. To your point, I am going to get back to that as far as the comment that Al made regarding, the man being taken out of the household and so on and so on. But before I do, I want to stay on the topic of having that choice, right? If I can afford a $600,000 house in a community with an outstanding school district, I have a choice. If I can write a check for tuition, I have a choice. If my child struggles and I can pay for private tutoring, not the tutoring at the school, but private tutoring 5 days a week, I have a choice. If the school isn't working, I can relocate. I have a choice. So again, maybe the argument has never truly been, should parents have a choice? Maybe the real argument is, should parents without money have the same ability to exercise it? And again, this is based on circumstances. Not everybody has the same circumstances, especially when we're talking different generations. So for example, my mom, she was born in the 50s and grew up in the 60s and 70s. And she went to Keith Avenue Parkman Middle School in Rufus King. And if you lived in that area, that was the rotation for everybody. But this was a time where you could actually go to a public school system. Again, this is no slight to the public school system, but it is the truth. This is a time where you can go to the public schools and have the education that you need, and you were getting hot cooked meals and so on and so on, prior to the funding being removed. Now we're in a completely different time. For those who did go to high school in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, this generation is dealing with something completely different. Not just here in the city of Milwaukee, but throughout this entire country, right? We have families who cannot afford to pay for a private school. They barely can afford to pay their bills due to inflation, due to maybe some bad decisions too. But every family that's in poverty has not necessarily made a bad decision. Especially if you're coming from a family that has nothing to leave you, right? If you're coming from a family where your mom may have not been a teacher and your dad may have not worked at A.O. Smith. Everybody's story is different, but at the end of the day, a zip code should not change the type of education that your child needs, that these children need, because at the end of the day, it's about them. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to live in these neighborhoods. They didn't ask to have the life that they have. It's almost as if they don't have a fair shot as soon as they enter this world. And that is a harsh reality for, some of our families and our youth out here. So should parents without money have the same ability to exercise it, right? Choice can't mean lowering standards. Like, we give parents options and then be silent if one of those options fails the child. So it goes both ways, right? For the parents who may be in these circumstances, if you are one of the parents who have the option of sending your child to a private school, make sure that you are utilizing that to the best of your ability, because there's another family who could be utilizing that, right? Don't take it for granted. Not saying that you have to bow down to the fact that someone gave you an opportunity, but it's one up. You got a leg up, right? Utilize it to make sure that it doesn't make your life harder going forward. Take full advantage of the opportunity. We give parents options and then be silent if one of those options fails the children. If a choice school cannot educate children, parents deserve better. If a charter school can't educate children, parents deserve better. If a traditional public school cannot educate children, parents deserve better. So no matter how you dress it up, it's the same. Doesn't matter if it's private, public, charter, religious, whatever the case may be. The loyalty has to be with the children and not the buildings. We cannot be loyal to a system when it has showed us multiple times that just this one specific system, it does not work for everybody. We've seen it throughout the entire 2 to 3 decades. I am someone who went to public school. I've never been to a private school, never been to a charter school. I went to public schools. And I truly believe that my generation probably was the last to fully experience MPS for what it was known for in the 90s and the 2000s. I don't understand why there is an issue to have multiple options. If they bring up the taxes and all of that stuff, come on, y'all know these people get tax credits. Like, stop playing. Stop playing with me. For real. There should not be any type of back and forth when it comes to a child's education. You should not be able to negotiate a child's education based off of where they live. Because the truth of the matter is, that's exactly what's happening. When we're talking about removing parent choice, school choice, any of those choices, you are making a conscious decision to say, I know what's best for you and your family more than you know. I'm doing this because I'm trying to make sure we save money on the back end, even though this other system has proven multiple times that they cannot serve the masses of the people at the rate that they would like to. And somehow we have to find a solution that says, well, we have found a solution. We have to find a better solution when it comes to the public school system. And we have to maintain this choice program so that families can have a way out. That is the bottom line. A lot of our babies are highly intelligent. And then they go to school and they be all over the place and they say they got ADHD, put them on medication and slow them down. No, they're bored. Because 9 times out of 10, they understand this in a way that they don't understand, if that makes sense. And then that causes boredom and that causes them not to want to participate in school. So instead of us sending them to a school that meets their expectations, education-wise, academic-wise, on top of the sports, we send them to the school counselor, who then sends them to a therapist who diagnose them with ADHD or ADD, and then puts them on medicine to slow them down to make sure that everybody in that building is on the same plane. This is the system that we are talking about. That is the reality. That's coming from a mother who has 3 children that was in school, an educator, and someone who was also a part of this system as far as a public school system. We got to go to break, but I want to bring sports into this conversation because when we talk about school choice, everybody talks about test scores. But if your child's pathway to college starts on a basketball court, a football field, a track, a stage, or in a music studio, is opportunity a part of the educational piece, right? And I know this is going to resonate with a lot of y'all, especially if you are a parent who has a child that plays sports, or you are a parent who used to play sports. When we come back, let's talk about it. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Milwaukee, we need more leaders. If you're a man 24 or older, it's time to stop talking about change and be the change. Join the 100 Black Men of Milwaukee, where successful men come together to mentor youth, strengthen our community, and build the next generation of leaders. Your experience, your wisdom, your legacy, it all matters. Visit Milwaukee100.org, click membership, and apply today. 100 Black Men of Milwaukee. What they see is what they'll be.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
For 250 years, our armed forces have bravely served America. Wounded Warrior Project honors that legacy by supporting post-9/11 service members and veterans like Anthony, a Marine who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
They carried me through my injuries, not just my physical, but my mental. And seeing other vets doing the same thing helped me tell myself, hey, you can do this.
Join us in honoring warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables. Roll up your windows. Don't leave your car running unattended. Lock your doors and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, my jumper got dagger, y'all people ain't got it like me.
101.7 The Truth, is your girl, Jazz Tyler. You are officially tapped in. Welcome back. Before we went to break, we were talking about education and having a choice of the school that your child goes to, the importance of it. Now, this is where the educator in me really wants people to listen, because every child is not going to arrive at an opportunity through the same door. Every opportunity is not going to be given to the same child. Some children have to work harder than others. Before we jump into that, I got a shout out to all of my listeners out there. Please do not forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, 101.7 The Truth. Shout out to the chat. Felix said, my son did great last year in MPS high school. And before some of my family members saying, oh no, don't go there, it's blah, blah, blah. It wasn't. It was great. And he's looking forward to going back. I am proud of him. You know, I have my daughter just graduated from an MPS school, but she did 3 years at a charter school. And I actually enjoyed both of the combinations. The charter school education was top tier for sure. The MPS, not so much, but the resources that they had. If there's a way we can combine all, man, listen, I'm all for it. But as I was stating, when we're talking about giving opportunities to children, right? We love telling children that education is key. But education is bigger than just a textbook. Sometimes a coach sees something in a child that nobody else sees, right? Sometimes music is what keeps that child coming back to school. And I know that firsthand as a music educator. Having a studio inside of that school, I can't tell you how many youth we have saved from being out on the streets just because they know when they go to school, they have something to look forward to. Sometimes basketball gets a young person into college where academics eventually will change their life. Sometimes it's theater, debate, robotics, band, film, entrepreneurship, all of the above, right? The activity may be the doorway. Education is what happens after they walk through the doorway. So when we're talking about athletes and we're talking about having a choice of what school they should be able to go to, right? Think about a child who can run, throw, shoot, wrestle, volleyball, all of that, right? And then think about the resources that comes with it, the coaching, the exposure, the facilities, right? Relationships, adults. We all know, we say this saying all the time, it's not what you know, but who you know. So if you are keeping students and youth trapped in the very environment that's making them sick to begin with, what do you expect? How do you expect for them to be successful? Again, this is not going back to, hey, we shouldn't have a choice because of poverty, right? We're saying we're not totally blaming everything on poverty, but these are the circumstances. This is the reality. A lot of the students who benefit from this choice program live in the outer city. They're left out of everything. This may be their only chance to make a great life for them and for their family. At the end of the day, I know we all know one person If it wasn't you, I know you know one person who who was in the same neighborhood as you, but could hoop his butt off, or he could play football so well and try doing it in the public school system, but it didn't work. So he had to go to a Martin Luther, right? Or they had to go to another school, a different private school, in order to obtain those resources and to build those relationships. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of our students, again, this is coming from personal experience. Both of my children played basketball at the highest level. My daughter's team went to state probably the past 5 to 6, 7 years in a row. She's played upstate, right? And I know charter schools are a little different because they still kind of operate off of MPS, but it's not. It's different. Callie, my youngest, she went to a private school in New Berlin. That her time there has put her above any other student in her class because of the education and the resources. And when we're talking specifically about athletes, I want to paint this picture for you. Think about your favorite athlete. And I want you to think about what high school they went to. And then think about if they transferred from their high school and went to a prep school, which is a private school. Hello. Then they went off to college. Then they went off to the NBA or the WNBA. Obviously, we know not everybody is going to make it. But the goal is to get them through the threshold by getting them into college. I guarantee you, a lot of the best to ever do it did not stay at the school that they were at. They had to leave and go to a better school with better resources. A, so that they can focus. B, so that they can be safe. Because a lot of, imagine the neighborhood that you grew up in. And imagine we were living in these times right now. Let's say I grew up on 14th of Burleigh. If I needed to go to elementary school, my neighborhood school would be La Follette. If I was a child right now and I was growing up on 14th of Burleigh, my elementary neighborhood school would be La Follette. If I needed to go to a middle school, I don't even know what the closest middle school is over there. High school, North Division. You can do that exercise around any neighborhood in the city of Milwaukee, in the outer city of Milwaukee. That's a reality. Can you imagine if you lived in that neighborhood and your child, that means no transportation because they have to walk to school. It's in walking distance. Would you feel comfortable with your child walking to your neighborhood school? Would you feel comfortable with your child sitting down in a school that has no air conditioning or lunch that looks like jail food? Are you comfortable with your child having books that your grandmama probably had when she went to that school? We're talking about access and resources. We're not talking about capitalizing off the babies. We're just saying access and resources. So back to the sports in particular, right? And for some families, we're going to be honest, an athletic scholarship isn't simply a trophy. It could be the only realistic way that family can afford college. So by granting the parents the opportunity to have a choice and to make that choice and say, you know what? I see something in my child that's bigger and greater than their environment and their circumstances. And I refuse to let my child be a statistic. Therefore, I'm going to work twice as hard. Let me change this narrative for those who say the parents who want to blame it on the parents that's in poverty. I'm going to work 2 jobs to make sure that I can send my child to a private school, right? Yes, they get a scholarship with the choice, but guess what? There's still fees, especially if they need before and after care. They have to pay for before care, after care. And when you go to a private school, it covers the tuition, but it's not covering, again, those additional fees. So now you're in a position, okay, you know what? I'm going to work 2 jobs. I'm going to take this check and I'm going to pay for gas to go back and forth 30 to 40 minutes away, or to make sure that the transportation is set up. They don't have free lunches. So let me make sure I'm paying for my children to eat that lunch too. The uniform fees, the school fees. There's fees on top of. So this idea to the citizens who disagree with the choice program based off of who has to pay for it, taxpayer dollars, these parents are still paying. They're still paying fees. The only thing that's covered is the tuition. There's still other fees that has to be paid. So you're taking your child and putting them in an environment because, A, you love them. I did that for my children. I don't want my children wrapped up in street nonsense. I don't want them to die. I want to teach them how to live. I want them to know that their talents and their gifts can take them wherever it is that they want to go. And that can't be subjective to a district line or a zip code or a neighborhood or an address or my skin color. It cannot be based off of that. This scholarship, no debt, a degree, a network, a career, a different economic plan for the entire family, right? This is very, 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 very important. And again, don't take it out of context. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. We're not saying that, hey, in order for my child to be successful, especially as an athlete, they have to go to a private school. We're saying that we know it's hard to raise our children in the environment that made us sick while keep them safe, while keep them fed, while keep them focused around these distractions. When we see something in our babies, we want them to have a better life than us. So some of us has to make decisions. Hey, this school ain't going to work. This public school system is not going to work for my child. I need to send them somewhere else. As long as they can stay focused in what they're good at, their gifts will make way for them. But if they don't have the choice to make from the begin with, you are already setting them up for failure. You can dress it however you want. And I get it. You have to try and appease certain people, right? But the reality is, no one suffers more than the child. While the adults are bickering, going back and forth, no one suffers more. And when we're talking about pulling that choice, understand that it affects legacy too. There's people who fought for this. There are people. And we're going to be joined by one at 5 o'clock, Dr. Howard Fuller. So there is no more back and forth about opinions. We're going to talk about facts directly from somebody who was a part of making this happen. Right? When we come back, before Dr. Howard Fuller joins us at 5, I want to talk about the name you cannot leave out of Milwaukee school choice history, Polly Williams, the legendary Polly Williams. Because before school choice became a national political football, there were Black parents demanding power over their children's education. That history matters, and we'll talk about it when we come back from break. Do not touch that dial. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Yi Lang Zhang was born in Warsaw, the son of refugees who fled communism in search of freedom. His parents taught him that freedom comes with responsibility. And for Yi, that means being accountable to every person he serves. School board treasurer, county supervisor, village trustee, a nonprofit leader. Yi Lang Zhang has managed multi-million-dollar taxpayer budgets at every level. And now he's ready to be a watchdog for Wisconsin. That's why Yi is endorsed by Senator Tammy Baldwin. Baldwin says Yi brings, quote, real budget experience from the school board, the county board, and the nonprofit world. She says he'll, quote, protect our school trust funds, return unclaimed money to families who earned it, and bring accountability to an office that demands it. Yi Lang Zhang for State Treasurer, a watchdog for your money.
Paid for by Yi for Wisconsin.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile. your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
'Cause remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
I like that, y'all. I like that. You like, I like that, y'all. I like that, like that. I like that, y'all. I like that. You like, I like that, y'all. I like that, like that. I like that, y'all.
101.7 The Truth with your girl, Jazz Tyler. You are officially tapped in. Shout out to all the listeners. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout out to the chat. Felix said MPS offers it is called People's Program. It's advanced if your child is bored, and this program will prepare you for college. Yes, I am familiar with that too. And I don't want to make it seem as if this is a battle between charter, private, and MPS. These are just facts. Again, these are choices, right? If we're going to talk about school choice, honestly, in Milwaukee, we have to talk about where this fight came from, right? Long before today's campaign ads, before Republicans and Democrats turned education into another battlefield, families in Milwaukee were asking, why should families in poverty in the outer city be trapped by where they live, right? And one of the most important names in this fight was the late Polly Williams. The reason why this is important is because we all know that without the correct information, we cannot make correct decisions. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are familiar with the choice program, but they don't understand how it started. This is where we go wrong as Black people, right? When we allow someone to tell us their opinion on why they should remove this option based off of taxpayers' dollars, they're also not mentioning that they are completely dismantling an entire legacy. And y'all know how I feel about legacy. If you don't, go back. Go back to a few clips. Rewind these shows back. Let's talk about it. There is people who put in work to make sure that we have an option based off of the information that they were receiving from the Black families in the city of Milwaukee. So for those who are not aware, Miss Polly Williams, the late great, may she rest in peace, was a woman of many things, but she was an elected official from Milwaukee who served 10 terms as a Democratic Party member of the Wisconsin State Assembly. She was active in civic affairs, serving on the board of or advisory council of such organizations as Urban Day, Inner City Council of Alcoholism, the Wisconsin Health Systems Agency, Black Women's Network, Wisconsin Black Women's Network, Central City Bicycle Safety Program, Family Services of Milwaukee, and the Wisconsin Black Women's Assembly in 1975. She became the secretary of the North Side Unit of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, moving up to first vice president in 1977. And in 1980, she won the Democratic nomination in what was the 17th Assembly District by a vote of 1,291 to 762. Not only did she do that, but she was the first advocate, the first freedom fighter for this choice program. And what she did was worked alongside Governor Tommy Thompson, former Governor Tommy Thompson, to get this approved, and with the advocacy of Dr. Howard Fuller and others as well. So when we talk about, again, the choice program, we're talking about people who stood toe to toe. This is in the late 80s and the early 90s. Think about that climate. Think about what the environment was like, what the culture was like, who was in office, not just at a state level or a city level, but a national level. Think about the state of our people. Think about the state of the leaving out of the crack era, coming into welfare. Let me set the scene for you. Understand what we were dealing with during this time. And when you go back to think about that, you'll understand that we are still dealing with the same things to this day. It's just dressed up a little differently. So let me give you a little background information. And I have to do this because I know that this is going to impact somebody out there somewhere. And if you don't feel like being educated on it, or you don't have time to look it up, I'm going to tell you. That's what I do. That's what I'm here for, right? Let's talk about it. So Wisconsin is home to the nation's oldest private voucher program, the Milwaukee Parental Choice Program. It was created with bipartisan support in 1990 and now provides education option to almost 30,000 students in Wisconsin's largest city, which is the city of Milwaukee. So let me paint the picture for you. In 1990, this program was conceived actually in 1989 in response to Milwaukee families who felt failed by the education status quo. The program was very controversial and faced heavy criticism. School choice champions such as Polly Williams, Gary George, Susan Mitchell, and Dr. Howard Fuller fought tirelessly on behalf of Milwaukee families, and in the end, they succeeded. In 1998, fast forward 8 years later, they were able to include the religious schools. So for those who go to a Martin Luther or a Heritage Christian, right? These private schools are a part of that program. These private schools are a part of that program that was implemented in 1989. In 2002, the school choice spreads, right? Milwaukee school choice model quickly became replicated across the nation. By 2010, years after it was created, Florida, Ohio, and Arizona had all created a school choice program. That program started right here with Polly Williams. Again, going back to 1990, why did she create this? Because she had been receiving information from families, specifically families in the outer city, who were not satisfied with the education system within this city that was being presented to them and their children. And there was nobody else who would fight for this. So she went and got her team. It was people that she probably met along the way, and they did what they had to do. Now, during this time, Dr. Howard Fuller ended up becoming the superintendent of the Milwaukee public school system. Right? So that's interesting. You know why it's interesting? Because as a superintendent of Milwaukee public school system and someone, an advocate to fight for a school choice, he still understood that work had to be done within that system. So he placed himself in a position to where he could become the superintendent to work on that. And Polly, hey, we got this out the way. Let's work on that too. But at the end of the day, there are two options. Families have options. And whichever choice you choose, we want to make sure that both systems work for you. That is the point that we're missing. The point that we're missing is it's becoming a blame game. MPS isn't doing this. We don't want school choice because of that. How do you make both systems work? Why should families and children have to pay because one system is failing them? Why should they be responsible for that? So when we're talking about dismantling the choice program, we're talking about dismantling an entire legacy. I could understand more if we've reached a point in our education system to where we can honestly say, hey, we may not need it as much anymore because we've built up the public school system so great to the point that they have the same, if not exact similar resources that these private schools have. But to my knowledge, that is not the case, which is why, again, it's extremely important for us to be able to have a choice. These choices matter. When we're talking about the youth and the rate that they're going, we're talking about everything that's happening in this city. You have to understand that education is a part of it. The entire education system is a part of this as well. And we have to figure out a way to make both of these systems work. I'm not about dismantling the legacy of someone who purposely put us in a position to win. I'm not about that life. I'm about adding on to the legacy and figuring out how to continue to make it work. But I can't be a supporter in disrupting the legacy of Polly Williams or Dr. Howard Fuller or any other person who came before us to make sure that we have a choice. If that means I'm on a back burner, if I'm the black sheep, hey, I'll be it. But at the end of the day, we all deserve a choice. Especially if you laid in that hospital bed and you pushed out that baby, you have a choice. If you're feeding that child every day, you have a choice. You're the doctor, the mother, the nurse, the father, the caretaker, you're everything. You have a choice. And you have to understand that your choice and your voice matters. When we return, Dr. Howard Fuller will join me. We're going to talk about the late, great Polly Williams. We're going to talk about school choice, public schools, politics, accountability. That's what we're talking about today, right? Accountability. We got to go to break. Do not touch that dial. At the 5 o'clock hour, we will be joined by the legendary Dr. Howard Fuller. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Educators Credit Union is more than a place to manage your money. They're where your financial possibilities take shape. They're more than transactions. They're conversations about your financial goals. More than numbers, they're community advocates who support free, local events that are accessible to all. They foster community because we are stronger together. Educators Credit Union is people helping people. Become a member at ECU.com. Insured by NCUA. Membership eligibility required.
Our leaders need to stand up to Trump and Tom Tiffany. But Francesca Hong's record is a distraction we can't afford. Bizarre rants against holidays, from Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day, calls to defund the police, voting against protecting kids from sexual predators. We can't trust Francesca Hong to defend the progress we've built in Wisconsin. Call Francesca Hong at 608-266-5342 to say her record hurts us. Paid for by Wisconsin Future Rising.
Milwaukee, your weekdays have a new rhythm. Start your mornings with conversations that matter.
Again, I'm the legendary Homer Blow, along with my girl,
Bailey Coleman. Truth in the Morning with Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman. Weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m. Then keep it locked with the voice of the community.
And the more you know and the more skills you have, the more training you have, the better off your community is.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, 9 a.m. to noon. Lunch is on us. Turning up your midday vibe.
It's your boy Ray Nitty and my co-host Maybe Shannon.
It's the lunch break with Ray Nitty and Maybe Shannon, noon to 2 p.m. And don't stop there. Keep the conversation going with The Grapevine with Manan Sabir.
That's right. I'm your host, Manan Sabir.
Bringing the stories and voices you need to hear, 2 to 4 p.m. Then we're closing out your day with energy. Lots of it.
It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct.
Tap in with Jazz Tyler every afternoon, 4 to 7 p.m. Your home for Milwaukee conversations. The award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a united way, improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to healthcare and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 1017 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
One, two, three into the four. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. Ready to make
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct. Listen, I can't express how honored I am to be able to invite our next guest onto this platform. He has spent decades at the center of the fight over educational opportunity. He is best known for his community organizing work that he did in Durham, North Carolina, as an employee of Operation Breakthrough and as a co-founder of Malcolm X Liberation University in 1969. He served as the superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools from 1991 to 1995 and is currently a professor of education and founder and director of the Institute for Transformation of Learning at Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And if you didn't know, his name is on a building at the school that I teach at. 3 of them, to be exact. Dr. Howard Fuller, thank you so much for joining me today. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to have you with us.
Your mic's muted.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so while we're working out, I think he's muted right now.
You have to unmute your mic on your computer, sir.
Again, if you are just joining us, we have Dr. Howard Fuller here. He's joining us virtually. We're going to talk about the school choice, parental choice, just choices overall. What choices do we have as a community, as a parent, when it comes to the education of our children? And the reason why, again, this is important because we all know that there are multiple things happening that is pretty much taking away the choices that we have. Is not anything that can be overlooked. It is not anything that we should not take seriously. It is something that we need to have a conversation about. Dr. Fuller, I don't know if you can hear me, but I think your camera is on mute.
I
can hear you now.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, I'm good today.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. I just, again, humbled by you accepting this grateful for all of the work that you have done for myself and the youth who come behind me. Again, just truly appreciative of who you are as an individual. So I want to jump right into it. We know that there's a lot going on when it comes to the school system overall. It doesn't matter which system, but public, charter, choice, all of the above. There is a lot that has to be done. There's a lot that has been done. So my question to you is, Dr. Fuller, help us separate two ideas that often get lumped together. What is the difference between parental choice and school choice? And just as importantly, what is the difference between supporting public education and supporting the particular systems we've created to deliver that education? All right, can you hear me, Dr. Fuller? Thank you all. Okay, there you go.
We just had you, but it just went away.
We are live and direct. We have Dr.
Nope.
Fuller joining us virtually as we continue to discuss choices when it comes to the education system here in the city of Milwaukee in the state of Wisconsin. For those who are joining us, Dr. Howard Fuller was very instrumental in making sure that we have the choice program. He was a huge advocate with the late, great Polly Williams to make sure that, we all have choices again. Are you there, Dr. Fuller? We're going to work on making sure we can get his connection together. And while we're doing that, again, I just want to give you all a brief background as to some of the things that we were talking about earlier on in the hour. There is a lot of back and forth about the choice program and whether or not we should continue to implement the choice program or if we need to remove it completely. And that is a problem. That is a problem for parents who have children who they see something in, and parents who have children who are athletic, parents who don't want their children to be sucked up by their environment, and just flat out the choice of them being able to have a choice and that being taken away.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me, Dr. Fuller? So we're going to continue this discussion with Dr. Fuller once we work out the technical difficulties. Again, my apologies. Pete, shout out to the chat. Hey, Jazz, thank you so much for tapping in with us. But we are going to, we have Dr. Fuller joining us virtually. We have to work out some technical difficulties. While we do that, I just want to reiterate what we were talking about at the beginning of the hour and the importance of making sure that we have a choice as a parent, right?
Try to say something.
So as a parent who have 3 children, my children has benefited from the choice program. And the reason why it was necessary is because I seen something in all 3 of them that only I could see. It starts at home. They say it starts at home. And once we figure it out, we try to make the best decision.
All right, I hear you now. You're good.
Dr. Fuller?
I am.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Sorry about the technical difficulties. The question that I ask is, can you help us separate 2 ideas that often get lumped together? What is the difference between parental choice and school choice? And just as importantly, what is the difference between supporting public education and supporting the systems we've created to deliver that education?
So thank you so much, Jazz. First of all, I just want to tell you how grateful I am that you have me on your program. So I really appreciate that a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Fuller. Thank you for agreeing to this.
Let me start by trying to make sure that all of your listeners who have not yet, that they will be out tomorrow to vote. I personally am supporting David Crowley for governor, but whomever people are supporting, I hope they will get out and vote because that's extremely important.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let me try to answer your question. So back in the day when Paul and I and a whole bunch of people were working on this, we specifically wanted to empower low income and working class people. So we fought for parent choice, not school choice. We did not want to empower schools to be able to choose kids. We wanted parents to be empowered to choose the best school for their children. And that's an important distinction in my mind. I have never supported school choice. I support parent choice because I believe that if you live in America and you got money, you got choice. Because if schools don't work for your kids, you either gonna move to communities where they do work, you're gonna put your kids in private schools, or you're gonna get the most expensive tutoring on the planet. The only people who don't have that type of power are low income and working class people who can't, who don't have the money to put their kids in private schools or to get tutoring. And so when Polly and I and others started fighting for this, we wanted those parents to have some of the power that people with money have in this country. And one of the most hypocritical things I've come across in all of the years of working with are people who use choice for their own children, but don't want poor and low income people to have those same choices.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, for example, when the program first started, one of the last schools to get into the program was a Catholic school on the far north side of Milwaukee. And the reason was most of the kids who were in that school were children of Milwaukee public school teachers who didn't want their children in a school with poor black kids. So the hypocrites on this issue to me are massive.
Yes.
The issue has never been parent choice. The issue has been who got it and who doesn't. And so what we were trying to do was to change the equation so that some of our parents could have choice. And so that's why I make this distinction between parent choice and school choice.
Absolutely.
The-
Thank you.
the
Thank you
second-
so much for that. Uh-huh.
The second issue that you raised is people say that someone like me, because I support choice, I'm opposed to public education. That's a lie. The fact of the matter is, public education is an idea, and various delivery systems have been created to try to make the promise of that idea real. So the Milwaukee Public Schools, of which I had the honor to be the superintendent from 91 to 95, it is not public education. It is one delivery system for public education.
Yes.
And because I want the delivery system to change, it doesn't mean that I oppose public education. And since these systems were not created by God, we could change them.
That's right.
And so that distinction for me is extremely important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for.
Because-
Mhm.
yeah, one last thing. Just because a school is a traditional MPS school, or school is a charter, or school is a private school, it doesn't mean that they're a good school or a bad school. There are good Milwaukee public schools. There are good charter schools. There are good private schools. And there are terrible Milwaukee public schools, terrible private schools, and terrible charters. So what we have to do is not be so concerned about what type of school that our kids go to, as much as we have to be concerned about what happens to them once they get there.
That
So
absolutely. Thank you so much for providing us with that information. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dr. Fuller. We got to go to break. I'm excited about continuing this conversation. Do not touch that dial. We have the legendary Dr. Howard Fuller, 101.7 The Truth.
Yi Lang Zhang was born in Warsaw, the son of refugees who fled communism in search of freedom. His parents taught him that freedom comes with responsibility. And for Yi, that means being accountable to every person he serves. School board treasurer, county supervisor, village trustee, a nonprofit leader. Yi Lang Zhang has managed multi-million-dollar taxpayer budgets at every level. And now, he's ready to be a watchdog for Wisconsin. That's why Yi is endorsed by Senator Tammy Baldwin. Baldwin says Yi brings, quote, real budget experience from the school board, the county board, and the nonprofit world. She says he'll, quote, protect our school trust funds, return unclaimed money to families who earned it.
Can you move closer to the mic?
Office that demands it. Yi Lang Zhang for state treasurer, a watchdog for your money.
When we come back, can you kind of sit closer to your microphone?
Milwaukee Public School families, the first day of school is Tuesday, September 1st, and there's still time to enroll. MPS offers programs to fit every learner, including bilingual, Montessori, special education, and more. All MPS students receive free breakfast and lunch. Enroll today at milwaukeepublicsschools.org/enrollment. Or visit MPS Student Services at 5225 West Vliet Street, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you for choosing MPS.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
One on 1.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct, and we are joined virtually by a special guest, the legendary Dr. Howard Fuller. Thank you so much again for joining us today. If you are just now tuning in, we are talking about parent choice versus school choice. Dr. Fuller was breaking down the difference between the two and the importance of parents being able to make choices for their child's education. Dr. Fuller, take us back before politics, before vouchers became something politicians argued about. What was happening to children and families in Milwaukee that made you all believe that something had to change? I think you're on mute, Dr. Fuller. Are you able to hear me? So we are joined by Dr. Fuller. Again, we do apologize for any of the technical issues that we all are experiencing. But the conversation, if you are just now joining us, the conversation has been about the parental choice, as just the choice overall, in the fight to make sure that parents have a choice for their child's education. And Dr. Fuller was explaining to us the difference between parental choice and school choice. And at the end of the day, my belief is each person, each parent should have the choice to make when it comes to their child's education. There are people who have fought for us to have these choices. Dr. Fuller is one of those people. And we're here to talk about it today. We're here to dive in it a little bit more and have this discussion so that you all can understand the history behind it, who played a part on it as well, and give y'all the correct information. So, because we are having technical difficulties, that will be a disservice to the listener. So what we're going to do is we're going to pivot and have Dr. Fuller call in. We're going to have him call in so that you guys can hear him clearly and you can receive the information that is needed. Because, again, when it comes to us, when it comes to our people, a lot of times we're not privy to this information. We don't have facts. We're going based off of media, off of social media, and the things that simply are not true. So we are joined by phone with Dr. Howard Fuller. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Thank you so much for being flexible.
Hey, no problem at all.
So the question coming back from the break, I wanted to talk about everything before the politics, before the vouchers became something that they argued about. What was happening? What was happening during that time that made the family say, hey, something has to change?
Okay, so this is going to take a minute, but I'm going to try to be concise, but hopefully informative, because you asked a very important question. So what you have to understand is that back in 1972, the issue for Black children and Black families from one segment of our community was desegregation. So that a man named Lloyd Barbie led a group called Music. And Music stood for something about Milwaukee United for Integrated Schools. They filed a suit against the Milwaukee Public Schools for being intentionally segregated. And ultimately, there was what was called an out-of-court settlement to desegregate the Milwaukee Public Schools. And even when they did that desegregation plan, they put the onus for busing on the backs of Black children. So that Katina Harwell Young's father, Larry Harwell, created a group called Two Way or No Way. Because Larry's argument was, if you're going to have desegregation, it shouldn't just be Black children who have to get on a bus to support this integration. And so if you can imagine for a moment, Jazz, the Our Avenue attendance area, they went into the Our Avenue attendance area and bused Black children to over 100 different schools in Milwaukee to achieve, quote, desegregation. They never achieved integration, because integration means that there would have been shared power. Desegregation meant they moved bodies. And so way back then, there were people in our community who were protesting the fact that all of this movement was on the backs of Black children. And for every one of our children who got on a bus, the state sent the district money. And so the district was making a huge amount of money off of busing black children. But for many people, they thought that, okay, integration has solved, or desegregation has solved the education problem. Even though the desegregation case itself left out 19 black schools because they just said, we can't get no white people to come into the black community. We can't desegregate these schools like ours, so we're just going to leave them black. But we're going to bust the children out of those areas. And in fact, Jasmine, you and your listeners need to know that there was a document that was put together, and on page 97 of that document, it says that the Milwaukee Public Schools had they had the responsibility to ensure that no white child would ever have to go to a school that was predominantly minority. So this whole integration scheme was developed on the backs of black children. 30 years later, in a panel, the architect of this plan admitted, and there was an article in the Journal Sentinel, a headline, where they admitted all of this was done in a way to benefit white people, even though it was supposed to be a plan for us. So it started with DSEG, right? And we thought that, okay, black kids are getting a great education. But what happened in 1985, we created a commission that the governor and the state superintendent supported. And I was the one who got Governor Earl to agree to create this commission. And every school in the city and the suburbs took the Iowa test for basic skills. And what we found out was in every school in the city, there was a gap in learning between white kids and black kids. So the desegregation efforts had not solved the education problem. Only one high school in the city did black kids have a grade point average over a D, and that was Rufus King, because Rufus King had been set up as a school for the college bound. Mm-hmm. So we went in and talked to the superintendent to say, look, how come you didn't tell us how bad it was for our children? You know what this man told us? And I will never forget it as long as I live. He said, we couldn't tell you black people how bad your children were doing, because if we had, the black parents could not stand to know how bad their children was doing. And the second thing, it would have given fodder to the racists who believed that black children could not learn. That's what this man said to our face. So based on that, we said, well, what are y'all going to do? What's the strategy? And when they had no strategy, Jazz, what we proposed was the creation of a separate school district. It was going to be called the North Division School District. It was going to be North Division, my high school that I graduated from, the 2 middle schools in the North Division cluster, and 10 elementary schools like Lee and Auer and Hopkins, and those schools in what was called the North Division cluster. We actually got a vote through the assembly to create this district, but it got voted down in the Senate. When that happened, Polly Williams, who had the courage, I can't tell you how much courage this took for this black woman to stand up in the 1980s and say, if you're not going to educate our children, you won't let us create our own district, then give us an avenue out of here so we can create our own schools.
Yes.
That's when we proposed the voucher program that became known as the Milwaukee Parental Choice Program.
So that's
Polly Williams took so much venom, the hatred towards her, the threats on her life, all of the things that happened because she had the courage to stand up and say, I believe that my parents ought to have some power to choose a better education for their children. That's how it started.
We are live with the legendary Dr. Howard Fuller. We are talking about the choice program, parental choice program, how it started, the history, the fact that as a parent, you should have a choice, period. And there are people who came before us to make sure that this happened. Let's talk about it when we get back. 101.7 The Truth. Do not touch that dial.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 101.
Milwaukee, mark your calendars. Truth Family Fest on Saturday, August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Riverside University High School. It's free and fun for the entire family, featuring great music, community resources, family activities, and back-to-school support to help students get ready for a successful school year. Interested in volunteering? Visit truthfamilyfest.com or by emailing Sierra, CIERRA.brown@MilwaukeeBlackMedia.com. Bring the whole family and experience one of Milwaukee's favorite community celebrations. Truth Family Fest, Saturday, August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Special thanks to Educators Credit Union, American Family Insurance, Milwaukee Public Schools, Artists Working in Education, City of Milwaukee, Department of Community Wellness and Safety, and Ascension for helping make this event possible.
101.7 FM, The Truth.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 101.7 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Mother, there's too many of you crying.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. You are officially tapped in. We are joined by a very special guest this evening, the legendary Dr. Howard Fuller. Prior to break, Dr. Fuller was explaining to us the process of the parental choice program, the sacrifices, the hard work that went into Mrs. Polly Williams, as well as himself and others to make this happen. So once you guys found a solution and you began to, confront them, Dr. Fuller, in order to implement it, what are some of the challenges that you were initially faced with, and how did you overcome it so that you guys were able to become successful with pushing out the parental choice program?
Well, I think, and that's a great question, Jazz, because I think some of those challenges are still with us today. And I think we should talk about the threat that currently exists today, particularly because the front runner for the Democratic Party nominee to be governor has said that she intends to eliminate the Milwaukee Parental Choice Program. She has never sat down, to my knowledge, with any parents like yourself and others who have used parent choice to ask why are you doing this? To just sit up in Madison and just in a cavalier way announce, well, if I become governor, I'm just going to get rid of that program in maybe my second or third budget. I think it's the height of arrogance. It shows that you have people like her and others who don't understand and frankly don't seem to care about the pain and suffering that goes on in the city of Milwaukee.
Yes.
Who don't seem to care that it's important that parents like you be able to decide, where do I want my child to go to school? Because you know that if you have more than one child, on any given day, you'll wake up and swear that there was a mistake in the hospital because one of them couldn't possibly be yours. Because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And different ones of people's children need different options. We have some families who send one child to MPS, one child to a charter school, one child to a private school because they believe that that works best for their children. And so what I'm saying is the historic fight for us to be empowered. You have someone who just stands up without knowing what it is we've gone through, without understanding the history of what we've gone through, and just announce, I'm going to end it. Yes. And I'm saying very clearly that I will never vote for a person like that. And I feel so deeply about the fact that both of these parties, one party, the Republicans, use us as a punching bag.
Yes.
The other party takes us for granted and almost just tells us, shut up and dribble. Yes. We know what's best for you.
Ooh.
And so what I'm trying to say, and I understand people don't agree with me, but I have to express my views and the anger that I have with how our community is treated and the decisions that people make without taking into account the realities that we live with, that you live with, and other people who are listening to this, that live with this every single day. So when we were fighting for this, there were people who, again, accused us of trying to destroy public education. They accused us of being tools of the right wing. That, all of these things they throw at us because we had the audacity to say our people should have choice.
Yes.
Because as at the end of the day, the question is, who controls the flow and distribution of the money? And what these people wanted to do is not give you the power to choose. Because when you exercise that power, you exercise where your money is going to go, right? Yes. You exercise, where is this per pupil amount that my child generates? Where do I want that per pupil amount to go to?
Absolutely.
And so these people think that we are fools, that we don't understand that a part of the reason why they oppose parent choice is because they want to control us. They want to control how the money is spent. They don't want to give us any power. And at a point in time when Trump is coming at us like guns blazing, full force to wipe out any gains that we may have made over the past 2 decades, here comes somebody from the left who wants to wipe out gains that we've made in another way. And people got to see through the hypocrisy of what it is that's happening right now in our community. Our children are not their primary interest set.
Yes.
And so since our children are not their primary interest, we got to make our children our primary interest.
Yes. So first and foremost, thank you for explaining that, because I was talking about that earlier. Being a parent who did have one child in MPS, the other in charter, and the other in private. And it was for the exact reason that you mentioned. There are 3 different children, 3 different personalities, 3 different learning capabilities. And as a mother, I had to step back and be able to identify that and make the choice to say, hey, this whole, one book works for all is not going to work for my children. And speaking of the politics, I talked about this last week as well. The fact that someone who does not relate to our demographic and continues to remind us why they don't get to make a decision in the event she does become governor by saying, I'm going to remove this choice from you, is the very reason why we are having this conversation today. Another aspect of that is legacy is important to me. And this is a part of your legacy, a part of Polly Williams' legacy, a part of those who played a major part in making this happen. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about all of the work that you guys have put in? And for someone who has no idea about real life in this city for our people, get to dictate your legacy or what you've contributed to your legacy?
So honestly, this is gonna sound kind of weird. I don't believe in legacy. Let me explain that, because I get it. I know what people are saying, but here's what I want to say to you is, I don't ever want you to make a decision about what you think is best for your children, trying to protect my legacy. I want you to make a decision about what's best for your children, because that's best for your children. And if it means going against something that I fought for because it's a different time, it's a different period, I want you to make that decision based on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You don't, honest to God, you don't owe me anything. I had a responsibility to fight the fights that I fought and the ones that I'm still fighting, because I believe in my community. I believe in our children, and you know that. But I know that there are people who don't agree with me, and I'm not tripping on that, right? Because Black people are not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? We got people who have different ideas about things, different approaches to things. I have an approach, and because I have an approach, I have a responsibility to fight for that. But the point I'm trying to make on this legacy thing is, I want you always to feel free to make the best decision for your children. And I'm talking about us collectively as a community, even if it is not the same thing that I would have done. You feel me? Because I don't want people to be constrained in the future by always trying to adhere to the past. But what I do think is important is to understand how we got here, so that if people make a decision to move away from that, they're making a decision based on an understanding of why this happened. You know what I'm saying? And not only an understanding of it, but an appreciation of it. And so if someone like you stands up and tells me, hey, I'm not sure about this, I can listen to you because you're living it, Zech. Somebody who's up in Madison, who ain't never been down here, who's never experienced the pain and the suffering that it takes to be Black in America, who's just going to pronounce that she's going to take away power that we fought for, I got a serious problem with that.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? I got a serious problem with that. And me, I'm just one 85-year-old man who got one vote, but I will never give it to her because of the arrogance that she is showing by talking about us without ever talking to us about what it is that we're trying to do and why.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Fuller. When we come back, we're going to finish this conversation. Let's talk about how this may affect athletes, as well as what happens in the event that the parental choice program was completely terminated. Let's talk about it when we come back from break. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Wisconsin voters just made themselves clear. 80% want leaders who hold every publicly funded school accountable for how our kids perform in school. And voters support parents' rights to choose the best school for their kids, whether it's MPS, a public charter like Carmen, MCP, or Milwaukee Academy of Science. by a 2-to-1 margin. Milwaukee's kids don't have time to wait for politicians to catch up, Democrats or Republicans. On August 11th, vote in the primary for someone who will fight for every Milwaukee child. Learn more at cfcactionfund.org.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we believe brilliance lives in every child. Here, students are challenged, supported, and celebrated every single day. With small class sizes, dedicated teachers, and a proven track record of academic excellence, MCP is helping Milwaukee kids reach their fullest potential. Enrollment is still open for grades K-3 through 8. Spaces are limited. Apply today. Give your child a school where they'll thrive. Visit mkeprep.com or call today. Milwaukee College Prep, brilliance lives here.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
101.7 The Truth with your girl, Jazz Tyler. We are officially tapped in with the legendary Dr. Howard Fuller. For those who are joining us, we are having a conversation about the choice program and what that will look like if it is removed and how we got here in the first place. Dr. Fuller, I mentioned this prior to you joining us today, but I want to bring it back up, especially because you have such an amazing track record as an athlete, both in high school and college. One of the comments that I made, I am a parent who played basketball as well, elementary through high school, and I have 2 children. And my daughter is now about to go to college to play basketball. How important is it when it comes to the parental choice program in athletes? One of the takes that I mentioned earlier was the fact that removing this, especially for athletes, this could affect them scholarship-wise. And we all know when we come from certain environments and neighborhoods that that may be the only way that student and that family can be successful in life. How does this impact, in the event that this was taken away, how does this impact athletes specifically?
That's an interesting question, Jazz, and I actually don't have a good answer because I'm not sure, because I have no idea how they're going to actually do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me to understand, like, what would happen. And let me try to explain it in this way. My last day as superintendent, which was June 30th of 1995, my last day as superintendent, we had 96,549 students going to the Milwaukee Public Schools. Today, as you know, there's closer to 50-some thousand. And so almost 50% of our children who are publicly funded do not attend school at MPS. So, for example, on the athletic thing, and you know this, one of the reasons Washington was able to have a football team last year was because they had a co-op with HFCA, with Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy. Mm-hmm. So almost half of the boys were our boys, actually, who were playing football for Washington High School. Because there has been a significant population decline
particularly on the north side of Milwaukee, they are expecting 20% fewer first graders in 5 years. So you have the situation now, I don't know what it is for this coming year, but for the last school year, Washington High School only had 370 kids enrolled. My high school had 256. So what I'm saying to you is that one of the problems that we have to clearly look at, and it will impact athletics and everything else, is the loss of student population, particularly on the north side of Milwaukee. And so when we're talking about these things and just, almost in a cavalier fashion, it's not understanding what the impact of some of these policies that these people are proposing will have. Let me take a slight detour from the athletic part, because I think this is very important. When you're being attacked the way that Donald Trump is attacking black people, we are in what I would call like what it was like during the post-Reconstruction period. When black people had gotten into office, black people had made gains after slavery. During the post-Reconstruction period, the job of the white supremacists was to turn back all of the gains that we had made during Reconstruction. What Trump and his minions are doing is the same thing. They are trying to take back whatever gains black people have made, over the last 2 decades. They made the decision that in order for America to be more white, they got to get rid of all the people that they can of color. That's what this ICE thing is all about. It's removing people of color because they're worried that the data shows that by 2040, white people will be a minority in America. That's what this is about.
Yes.
And so when you're in a period like this, one of the most important things for you to do is to build institutions, because you have to have institutions to be able to react and fight back against the effort to destroy us. So when people come along and say, I want to eliminate the parent choice program, and they're supposed to be the left, in fact, what they're doing is to opening us up for greater attacks from the right. So these proposals not only have an impact on our children and all that, they have an impact on black people's ability to build strong institutions. And so people like her don't understand the critical importance of institutional building for black people to resist oppression.
Yes.
And so what sounds like some type of progressive move is in fact a regressive move against black people.
Yes. And it's packaged up in a way to make it seem as if she's on our side, when in reality that's not the case.
Exactly. It's a wolf dressed in sheep clothing.
Yes. Yes. So we know that we don't know what's going to happen, but based off of the history, based off of you being there from the beginning, and then also being aware of where we sit at today, in the event, hypothetically, in the event the parental choice program was completely removed, how important is it for us, our people, to understand the shift? What will happen, in your opinion, if that program was taken away, and how would it impact us the most?
Well, the first thing is we can't let it happen. And what I'm hoping, Jazz, is that people like you, and there are many other people here, that you all will organize and fight back. At this point in time, a person like me, I want to be supportive of you. I'm not trying to lead nothing. I had my opportunity to lead. I want to be supportive of people like you who are prepared to fight. We cannot allow this to happen to us and we don't fight.
Yes.
We have to fight for our survival. We have to fight in order to have power so that we can try to make a better life for our children and for our community. Someone like her, she don't know how to build in our community. She don't know the pain and suffering that we have gone through as a people in this country.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that people like you, who not only have a voice, but people listen to you, that you will mobilize folks to fight back. We need to support people in our community like Dora Drake or Senator Johnson or Supreme or Kaylin or Margaret, those Black elected officials who know that what I'm saying is true. And we have to get behind them so that if she does get elected governor, that they will fight back against any policies that she would propose that would end the parental choice program in Milwaukee. But if the other dude gets elected, we got another type of fight. Woo. You know what I'm saying? It is. So either way, Jazz, we're going to have to fight.
Yes.
Right? The issue, it's going to be, what issues are we going to have to fight on as a people? And we have to be conscious, and we have to be focused. And the most important thing is we have to be willing to fight. We can't just let them do whatever they want to do to us and we say nothing.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And what I vow, Dr. Fuller, is to continue to keep fighting. And my call to action for the listeners is for you all to find a way to organize and continue to fight as well.
I appreciate that so much, dear.
We have to. Thank you so much for joining us. I value the information that you have provided to myself and my listeners because, again, a lot of times when we see things in media, especially the white media, when it comes to politics, is always dictated to program us to believe, certain things. And for me, it was, hey, let's get it right from the horse's mouth. We can go, we still have you. So the information is there, and we need this information so that we can make the best decision. To your point earlier, in order for us to make the best decision, we have to know how it started. And that's exactly what we went over today. And again, I truly, truly, truly thank you for providing us with this valuable information, for giving us the insight, but also just for being a respected elder in our community who is saying, hey, I did the work. It's your time to do the work now, and I'm happy to support you all.
Right. Well, I'm so grateful to you, as you know, for you having me on the show, but I'm even more grateful that you're a part of the HFCA family. And so I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Fuller. I pray that you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I want to make that personal vow to continue to fight and push forward everything that we've discussed today. And to the Truth Nation, I ask that you all do the same. When we come back for break, we are going to continue this conversation. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Fuller. Do not touch that dial. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flysshf.org and ask for an application.
Our leaders need to stand up to Trump and Tom Tiffany, but Francesca Hong's record is a distraction we can't afford. Bizarre rants against holidays, from Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day, calls to defund the police, voting against protecting kids from sexual predators. We can't trust Francesca Hong to defend the progress we've built in Wisconsin. Call Francesca Hong at 608-266-5342 to say her record hurts us. Paid for by Wisconsin Future Rising.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
For 250 years, our armed forces have bravely served America. Wounded Warrior Project honors that legacy by supporting post-9/11 service members and veterans like Anthony, a Marine who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
They carried me through my injuries, not just my physical, but my mental. And seeing other vets doing the same thing helped me tell myself, hey, you can do this.
Join us in honoring warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes, rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 101.7 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
Like 101.7 The Truth. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct. Milwaukee, mark your calendars. Join us for Truth Family Fest on Saturday, August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Riverside University High School. It's free and fun for the entire family, featuring great music, community resources, family activities, and back-to-school support to help students get ready for a successful school year. Interested in volunteering? Visit the Truth Family website at truthfamilyfest.com to complete the volunteer form, or by emailing Ciera Brown@milwaukeeblackmedia.com. Bring the whole family and experience one of Milwaukee's favorite community celebrations. Truth Family Fest, Saturday, August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Special thanks to Educators Credit Union, American Family Insurance, Milwaukee Public Schools, Artists Working in Education, City of Milwaukee, DCWS, AB Core, and Acision. Milwaukee. We had an amazing conversation today with Dr. Howard Fuller. I am a proud educator at Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy. I am, for those who are unaware, I am the lead producer and educator inside of our Notes for Notes studio. Shout out to Day Hill, Dev, Ryan, Nick, KC, the entire squad. We get it busy. Shout out to B. Joe as well. But we had an amazing conversation about parental choice, and then we also talked about how it affects us, how it started, and why it is important, right? And obviously, as I say before, I can't tell you who to vote for. All I can is bring you the information on how important this is. But as a parent who has utilized this system, it is crucial that we understand how it started, who helped start it, and where we are today. And something just don't sit right with me when a person tells me that I can't make the choice of which school my child goes to based off of them attempting to save money, them attempting to be a part of whatever games are being played. But most importantly, you are limiting my children from a fair chance at life, right? a fair chance at life. We should have the choice to be able to say, I want my child to go to public schools, charter schools, or private schools. Doesn't matter which one you choose. Your choice is yours. But ultimately, the choice should be there. So, again, major shout out to Dr. Howard Fuller. It's not often that we still have some of our prominent leaders with us today. It was a pleasure being able to sit down with him and get the facts, right? He walked us all the way back to 1985. The things that they had to go through just to be able to present an alternative, right? And so dedicated to the point where he became the superintendent for Milwaukee Public Schools while still assisting the late, great Polly Williams with the parental choice program. If that doesn't show unbiased, I don't know what does. Again, at the end of the day, the point is to make sure all of our babies have the proper education, that they have equal and fair resources as everyone else, but most importantly, so that we are not failing them, so that they have the option to go on and be whatever it is that they want to be. So we're going to remove the politics, the parties, the school system. We're going to remove all of that for context purpose. And I want to talk directly to you all who are listening, right? If your child wakes up every morning and says, I hate school, their grades are horrible, they're lacking confidence, they may be getting bullied, maybe bored, maybe gifted but not challenged, maybe athletic, creative, whatever the case may be, and you say, I want to change the school that my child attends, and that person on the other end says, sorry, this school is assigned to your address. And y'all know, y'all feel me when I say that because it has happened to me. Hey, these are all the things my child is facing at this school. And they say, sorry, I can't help you. There's nothing we could do about it based off of where you live. What are you going to do? Have you ever had to relocate yourself or your child because a school wasn't working? 833-212-1017. Let's talk about it. Y'all all know what I mean when I say that. You all know what it means when I say this. And again, it goes back to what I talked about at the beginning of the show. The fact that we have to have a conversation. This is me being transparent with y'all, Truth Nation. The fact that I have to have a conversation about somebody that I pushed out of my womb about what school they go to is insane. The fact that you're telling me there may be a chance that I won't have a choice to do so, because nevertheless, who knows their child more than the person that gave birth to them, including the father? I know where my child lacks. I know where they are gifted. I know where they need assistance. And if you are an even greater parent, despite of your circumstances, you are going to make sure that whatever it is you see inside of that child, you're able to pull it out of them. And you have to be able to do that by making choices, no matter how difficult it is. I was so faithful to my children being successful. I had one child in public school, one child in charter, one child in private. I had to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was driving an hour and a half extra before work and after, dropping my babies off and picking them up to make sure that they had the proper education that fits their needs specifically. The way my son learned was not the way that my oldest daughter learned. And my baby girl is completely different from both of them. It's a 9 and 10 year gap. She's completely different. I couldn't imagine what type of child, education-wise, Callie would be had I not made the decision to put her in private school because I noticed something inside of her that wasn't even in my other two children. Because I made this decision, my daughter now has a scholarship to play basketball. She has an academic scholarship, first and foremost. And she plays basketball for Mount Mary. Because I made that decision for her to say, I feel like based on the way you learn, your personality, and the things that you need to be fulfilled, I am choosing to send you to a charter school. My son, he's more social. He needs to go to a public school. He's okay. The way he learned, that's completely fine. And Callie needs to go to a private school. Had I not had that choice, I'm not sure. Based off my parenting skills, I'm sure about certain things, but based off environments, based off of lack of resources and other things, I'm not sure which direction my children will be in. Again, this is a different generation, right? We're expecting for our babies to be the best that they can based off of their environment and what they are around. Think about all of the AAU teams. That's for moms and fathers. Think about all of the summer leagues. Think about a lot of these relationships, a lot of this exposure is a part of your child being able to build their skill sets up and attend a private school of your choice, if that is your choice, or a charter school or a public school. But at the end of the day, you have that choice. When that choice is removed from you, it's not just about what's making it easier because of a drive. It's about what's making it easier so that your child can survive. The analogy I gave when I first got on air was, imagine if I was a child in this generation. I grew up on 14th and Burleigh. Again, this is no slight. This is no slight to the school system, the area. This is a harsh reality. It could be the same for somebody who lives on the south side. It can be the same for someone who lives in Brown Deer. But if I was an age school child, growing up where I grew up at right now on 14th and Burleigh, my neighborhood school would be La Follette and North Division, right? Those would be the main two schools that I would be required to go to. Now, let's say that because it is close, there is no transportation. So now I have to walk. But let's say I was an A student. I got amazing grades. I also played basketball. And I was into other activities as well. Now I'm going to school. I'm super hyperactive because the work that's being introduced to me is work that I supersede, work that I know already, just off of me being intelligent. And then the teacher complains to my mom about me disrupting the class, saying I'm causing all of these issues despite of my grades being the way that they are. Now let's play advocate here. Let's say my grades wasn't, and there was confliction. The solution would still be the same. Send that child to the school counselor, and then make a referral to send them to a therapist and diagnose them with ADD, ADHD, some type of anything, just to be able to put them on meds and slow them down so that they're on the same level as every other child in that school or that classroom. Versus my mom saying, hey, I see how intelligent you are. And although it may be easier for me to send you to school down the street, I'm going to send you to a school across town so that you can get the education that you need in order to be the person that you need to be. These are real life scenarios. These are real life situations. Again, we are talking about the parental choice. What's going to happen after elections in the event a specific candidate gets in and say, no more parental choice? Are you prepared to deal with the aftermath? It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. Do not touch that dial. We got to go to break to pay some bills. 101.7 The Truth.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
For 18 years, Veolia has done more than treat Milwaukee's water. Our people have raised their families here, built careers here, and been a part of the community. Generations of workers, millions of dollars a year invested in local businesses, a workforce center built to give young Milwaukeeans a real path into good local careers. 18 years later, Veolia is still here because Milwaukee's still home. Veolia, Milwaukee values, committed to its future.
Milwaukee, your weekdays have a new rhythm. Start your mornings with conversations that matter.
Again, I'm the legendary Homer Blow, along with my girl,
Bailey Coleman. Truth in the Morning with Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman. Weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m. Then keep it locked with the voice of the community.
And the more you know and the more skills you have, the more training you have, the better off your community is.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, 9 a.m. to noon. Lunch is on us. Turning up your midday vibe.
It's your boy Ray Nitty and my co-host Maybe Shannon.
It's the lunch break with Ray Nitty and Maybe Shannon, noon to 2 p.m. And don't stop there. Keep the conversation going with The Grapevine with Manan Sabir.
That's right, I'm your host, Manan Sabir.
Bringing the stories and voices you need to hear, 2 to 4 p.m. Then we're closing out your day with energy. Lots of it.
It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct.
Tap in with Jazz Tyler every afternoon, 4 to 7 p.m. Your home for Milwaukee Conversations. The award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
'Cause remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Things I've got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know.
101.7 The Truth, is your girl, Jazz Tyler. Looking to discover and support local businesses in our community, then make sure you tune in every Friday at 8 a.m. to Truth in the Morning with Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman for What the Business Is, powered by We Energies. Each week, you will hear from local business owners as they share what their business is, where they are located, and one valuable lesson they've learned along the way. We Energies is proud to help power local businesses in the communities they serve. Don't miss What the Business Is every Friday, 8 a.m. only on Truth in the Morning with Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local businesses. Truth Nation, thank y'all so much for tapping in with me today. It's been a rough look. I done slipped up on a couple words, but my mind is racing right now because I have so much to say. So again, I apologize, but we had an amazing conversation with Dr. Howard Fuller today. That was near and dear to my heart because it's not often that, again, I referenced this in the interview I had with Homer last Monday. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel on 101.7 The Truth. But we had this conversation last week about legacy, about being able to sit across from people who have paved the way for you and have these conversations. And most importantly, just receiving the information overall, right? We are dealing with something that can potentially affect all of us, especially those who have. The reason why I keep bringing up scholarships and athletes, not just basketball, but football, volleyball, academics, whatever it is these schools outside of the public school system offer resources, as you know, and opportunities and relationships that a lot of us would not have had our child not gone to these private schools, right? And what ends up happening is majority of us who live in the outer city, again, the outer city is the inner city, but we're left out of everything. Majority of us who have lived or currently live in the outer city, we all know the saying is not what you know, but who you know. So when you have the option to go and play ball at a private school or just attend a private school because you are highly intelligent it opens up doors for you and your entire family that had you going to your neighborhood school, that may not be the case. And the reason why this is important, again, because me being me, someone who I'm never going to bring something to you all that I have not experienced myself. I am a mother of 3 who have went to every public, charter, and private all at one time, spending an extra hour and a half every day in the morning and in the evening to drop off and pick them up to make sure that they had a choice, to make sure that they become successful based off of the way that they learn. Who is anybody to take that right away from you? So, again, we were talking about the choice program. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Madi. Shout out to B. Joe, Jasmine West. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with us. As we begin to evaluate this, right? And again, I don't want to make it political, but the politicians made it political. There is a specific, multiple candidates who do not want the parental choice program. And they're looking to have that removed, which, if you don't know, affects majority of the Black population in the city of Milwaukee. With that being said, as a parent, my daughter, she went to Milwaukee Academy of Science the first 3 years and graduated from Hamilton High School. And when she was at MAS, I was a parent advocate. I was an advocate on a basketball team for the school, period, because I understood the assignment. I seen how it was effective, not just because somebody asked me, but I seen how effective it was with my daughter being there academic wise. So much to the point that by the time she reached 12th grade, she had half day and she had dual enrollment. My daughter was enrolled in college while finishing her last senior year of high school. So I've witnessed firsthand the difference in being able to send your children to different school districts, if you please. With that being said, as someone who has experienced it, the best advice I can give you all parents, no matter what type of school it is, whether it's public, whether it's charter, or whether it's a private school, you have to begin to evaluate. You have to begin to evaluate your child's education. Not just looking, oh, they're getting great grades. They're going to school. They seem happy. The teachers have nothing but positive things to say. Or even if it's the opposite, either way, we cannot afford as a people to miss a step. As you can see, they are coming for our education system. And you will be a fool to think that this does not affect you. Even if you don't have any children who utilize this program, it's still going to affect you somehow, some way. So from one mother to another mother or a father, despite of the politics, despite of it all, what I'm telling you, based off my experience first, is to evaluate. Evaluate the academic performance and growth. Study the curriculum. Especially if you're in a public school setting, you can literally go to the school's website and pull up the curriculum to see what they're learning and how they're learning it and who the instructor is. Evaluate the school culture. Does the people who are teaching at your child's school relate to that demographic? And I don't necessarily mean they all have to be Black or brown. What I mean is, if you are far removed from the people you are serving, there is no way that you can meet the people where they are. There is no way you can cater to my needs and what it is that I deserve or my child deserve, because you don't have the basic understanding of what I've been through and why I got here in the first place. Is the culture safe? Do they listen to the students, or do the students feel oppressed? Evaluate the safety. Evaluate teacher retention. This is a big one. How many of y'all have children that's in school right now and the turnaround rate on staff is out of the room, off the charts? That is a consistency issue. That is a relationship issue. That is an attachment issue. When these students begin to trust their teachers And all of a sudden, they are removed from the environment based off of whatever ego, pride, whatever is happening behind scenes, it affects that child. When we was growing up in school, our teachers was there the whole time, from elementary to 8th grade. Sometimes when you walk in school, in some schools now, the teachers that was there last week is gone. The leadership is constantly changing, but yet we want our children to stay on track. You got to evaluate the teacher retention, the class sizes. Are they effectively learning based off of how many children are in this one class? Special education support for those who have IEPs. What type of support system is this school providing you and your family? We're not talking about just support while they're going to school. We're talking about wraparound services. We're talking about conversations, solutions, the arts, and sports, athletics. What does that program look like? Graduation outcomes, college and career pathways. One of the biggest reasons why I supported Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy in this position is because the amount of children that heads to college, the career pathways, the college pathways. That's another reason why I chose to send my children to the schools that they went to, because of the outcome. What's going to happen once my daughter reached her senior year in high school? How effective are these AP classes? How effective is your partnership with UW Milwaukee system? Because a lot of MPS has partnerships with them, as well as charter schools has partnerships with other schools. How effective is what she's learning? So much to the point where it gives her or him enough confidence to be successful in school so that they can go on to go to college. The discipline philosophy, right? When something happens, how are they mediating the situation? Are they quick to write them up and put them, the solution is always get them out of here? Or are they more open to, hey, let's have a conversation and see how we can make this work because I want to see you succeed, right? There was a situation in particular, we talked about it on air with my former student, Torian. 30 days before graduation, Torian got caught with some gummies or a gummy wrapper in his locker and was about to head out of there. Not knowing he had got shot at 14. That's PTSD, hello. Not knowing he has already been in and out of the juvenile detention facility. And the only reason why he still was coming to school is because he didn't want to give up on himself. But had he not had an advocate, what would have been his outcome? The school that your child goes to, they don't have to get into altercations like this or situations like that. But in the event it was them or their friends, how easy is it for your child's school to give up on them? Whether their specific child feels known or supported. That specific child. Have you had a conversation with your child to see how much they feel supported at the school that they're at? Do they have a true family-oriented vibe, or is it all for looks? All of these things matters. Every last one of them. I know we got 2 jobs. Some of us working 2 jobs. I know that some of us is in our entrepreneur bag. Some of us is out here getting to it to the best of our ability. But I'm telling y'all, somebody that's on the inside, these are things that you have to pay attention to. If don't nobody else tell you, I'm going to tell you. Everything I just mentioned, you got to pay attention to it because it's critical and ultimately is going to determine how successful your child will be. When we come back from break, let's continue to have these conversations. What matters most when you are choosing a school? 833-212-1017. And then we'll go on to talk about the children. Have you ever thought about asking them? Do not touch that dial. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Milwaukee, we need more leaders. If you're a man 24 or older, it's time to stop talking about change
and be the change. Join the 100 Black Men of Milwaukee, where successful men come together to mentor youth, strengthen our community, and build the next generation of leaders. Your experience, your wisdom, your legacy, it all matters. Visit Milwaukee100.org, click membership, and apply today. 100 Black Men of Milwaukee. What they see is what they'll be.
Wisconsin has the largest black-white academic gap in America, and 22 of Wisconsin's 50 lowest performing schools are right here on Milwaukee's north side. Our kids need more options, more champions, more action. Francesca Hong's plan gives them less. She'd end school choice, limit public charter schools, and shut the door on programs Milwaukee families built for their own children. On August 11th, vote for candidates who fight for our kids. Paid for by Leaders for a Better Community, Inc.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way, improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to healthcare and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Life, I wonder, will it take me under? I don't know.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. You are officially tapped in. Happy Monday, Milwaukee. Thank you all so much for joining us today. In case you missed it, we were joined by Dr. Howard Fuller earlier on in the show, and we had an amazing conversation again. It was very, very imperative and important to me for us to sit down and have this conversation with him because he is one of our elders who are still around, who was there from the beginning. And whatever has been put out in the media, he was there to correct it, right? Dating all the way back to 1985, the purpose of creating the parental choice program. In his words, he wasn't worried about, he didn't want the schools to dictate it because that's how they make the money. He wanted the parents to. And because of the segregation and how much money was being made off of them transporting black babies, him and Polly Williams decided to approach and say, hey, let's have our own district, right? They didn't want that. Well, we got to have something. How about the parental choice program? And there's been rhetoric surrounding, hey, he don't support public school system because he's supporting this. This all took place and was taking place as he was the superintendent at the Milwaukee public school system, which means that he was advocating for parents to have choices no matter what side of the fence you chose. At the end of the day, you should have a choice. Before we went to break, we were talking about how to properly prepare your child for school as far as making the best decision for them. Some of the things that parents should pay attention to: academic performance and growth, the school culture, safety, teacher retention, class sizes, special education support, arts, athletics, graduation outcomes, college career pathways, and whether or not that child feels supported. So I want to talk specifically about the young people because adults love deciding what children need without asking them. And trust me when I tell you, I understand. You know, I grew up in that era of a child and got no business being in an adult's conversation. And if I'm talking, you're going on in the other room and mind your business. Now that I'm older, I understand that applies to certain aspects of that child's life. So in my house, my children have a voice to a certain degree, but they have a voice. And the reason being is because nobody can tell you but your child because they're experiencing it firsthand. And I know a lot of times it's difficult for us to believe our children, especially when they're constantly into something at school. But parents, start listening to your child. I'm telling you, a lot of the depression is stemming from school because they're not happy with the school that they're at. And I understand that not every parent can make that decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to send my child to a private school or charter school or a different school for that matter. They have to do what works for their situation. But trust me when I tell you, if you want your child to be successful in life, that's what parenting is about, making sacrifices. There are certain sacrifices you're going to have to make no matter how inconvenient it is, even if it means that it's going to save your child's life. And if you don't think it's that serious, send them to your neighborhood school. If you don't think it's that serious, send them there. Or send them to a school that you necessarily wouldn't want them to go to, but it's convenient. And pay attention to the outcome, right? So when you're talking to your child or student, start asking them these questions. Do they feel safe? Do they feel challenged? Do the teachers know their name? Does somebody notice when they show up? How are they being received? Is their voices heard? Do they feel like a student or a number? You will be surprised at how many students. You will be surprised at how many youth can tell you how they truly feel, good and bad. They're not dumb. They pay attention to every single thing. But they also know in the back of their minds, mom's going through this, my dad going through that. I have to just make life easy. I'm going to just deal with it even though I don't want to be here. We have to start receiving the information from them. Hey, I know you're getting good grades, but how do you feel about the school overall? Right? Start paying attention to who's sitting on these boards. Who is over the board at your child's school? If it's a public school, who's the superintendent, first and foremost, because a lot of us don't even know that. Their background, where they come from, what they specialize in. Then you have the school board supervisors who has districts. You have to pay attention to who that is as well. And if your child goes to a private school or a charter school, you need to be paying attention to who sits on those boards. Because ultimately, they have a choice. They are making some decisions as well. And they are there to be your advocate. You put them in office. You put them in that seat. So whatever questions or concerns you have, it should be brought to the forefront. We have to go into this next election, which is tomorrow, understanding what's at stake. This is not a biased opinion. This is not me telling y'all who to vote for. This is me being 100 with y'all. Despite of one of the things we got to do as Black people is we got to get out of our feelings, right? Even if, do you know how many Europeans dislike each other that are businessmen and women, but still do business together? Even if you feel a certain way or you have your opinions about politics or about a specific candidate, especially one that comes from, that's homegrown, have them. But at the end of the day, it's not about just you. It's about your family. It's about the people you are around. And again, even if you don't have a child that goes to a school outside of the Milwaukee public school system, or if you do, it's still going to affect you regardless. Taking away the parental choice program is not only a slap in the face to the Dr. Howard Fullers and the late Polly Williams, but it's a slap in the face to us as families, as parents. It's an insult. You are telling me that I am not competent enough to dictate the best option for my child based off of what I know, who I know them to be, because of where I live. Make it make sense. I can't have an option to say I want my child to go to school across the town based off of what I have analyzed as their parent. That's a problem. And it's coming from people, again, who don't understand this demographic, who has not taken the time to even try to have this conversation. I don't know about y'all, but for me, I dictate what's best for my children based off of being their mother, based off of their experiences in the past, and based off of conversations that I have with them. I don't know if my children would be as successful as they are had they gone to just the neighborhood school. Even if they were, I still had the choice to say yes. Yes, I want this for them. Yes, they want it for themselves. And I know Dr. Fuller mentioned that he don't believe in legacy, and he gave his take on it. But I do. And when we get to undoing things like this, they do it so sneaky and so fast in a way to where we're not paying attention that they're undoing the legacy. They're undoing the work. They're undoing what people have fought so hard to make sure that we had. All of that is being pulled out and thrown out the window with everything else, all based on a political party, opinion, support, campaign fund, whatever their reason it is. And I personally don't agree with it. I don't support it whatsoever. As someone who has been able to see the fruits of my children's labor, because I did choose to send them to 3 different schools, private, charter, and public. I can't tell you public schools is better than charter schools is better than private schools, but what I can say is all 3 of my children went there individually. And I made that decision, not even looking at it from a private, charter, or public, but looking at it from a what works best for them. It just so happened to be a private, public, and charter school. But ultimately, I still had that choice. I still had the choice to say, my son don't do good here, but he does good here. He doesn't do good in a charter school, but he does good in public school. My daughter doesn't do good in public schools, but she does good in charter schools. My youngest baby doesn't do good in either. She needs to go to private. I still had that choice. So again, ultimately, no matter where you stand, at the end of the day, your choice should not be taken away. That is your choice, especially when you have people who fought for it because they understood back then what the dynamics were and what the climate was, in which is still similar to today. We are still facing and going through some of the things that we have went through during the time when this was created in the first place, which still says a lot. When we come back from break, let's do our call to action and continue to dive in on what this looks like for us. Let's talk about it. Phone lines are open, 833-212-1017. How do you feel about the parental choice being taken away? And will it affect you? It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, 101.7 The Truth.
Our leaders need to stand up to Trump and Tom Tiffany. But Francesca Hong's record is a distraction we can't afford. Bizarre rants against holidays, from Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day, calls to defund the police, voting against protecting kids from sexual predators. We can't trust Francesca Hong to defend the progress we've built in Wisconsin. Call Francesca Hong at 608-266-5342 to say her record hurts us. Paid for by Wisconsin Future Rising.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 101.7 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
.7 The Truth. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. You are officially tapped in. Happy Monday, Milwaukee. You already know what time it is. Listen, we had an amazing conversation today with Dr. Howard Fuller, and his call to action was, we got to fight. He said he done already did the work. He's looking to support us, and I wholeheartedly agree. Shout out to the chat. Madi says, my kids grew up in Burlington, Wisconsin. They had a menu to choose from to eat. Anytime they want different rules, they was homeschooled. Yeah, they had options. I've homeschooled Callie a little bit too, but there's options. And when you have options, that means you can make whatever choice works best for you. But ultimately, what this entire thing is saying is that, A, Black and brown people who live in the outer city, remember outer city because we're left out of everything, is not competent enough to make a decision on their child's education. Secondly, they're also saying that even though in the same breath, even though we know the public school system is short when it comes to funding and staff, so much to the point that they begin to seek employment outside of Wisconsin. They're going to recruit teachers, former teachers from the Chicago public school system. Even though we know that half of these public schools don't have central air conditioning, the food is like jail food, right? And again, this is not to pin public school systems against charter schools or private schools, but these are facts, and these are facts that are being told by the very people who are running for office. Even though we know all of this, we're still going to remove If elected governor, I'm still going to remove the parental choice program from you. Even though I know MPS ain't got nothing to offer you and that we're trying to rebuild it. Do you understand where that puts you at as a parent and in this community? So for those who like to say, this don't affect me, I don't have no children in school, or my children, they all go to public school. But guess what? What about the children that live next door to you, or the children that lives across the street, or the children that lives in that neighborhood? If it affects you, if it affects them, it affects you. Point blank and simple, no matter how you dress it up. It affects us all. So again, we have to make sure that we are paying attention to what is happening. We can no longer have these excuses. If you was not privy to this information, or if you did not know and wasn't aware, you got the inside scoop today. You got the truth on how it started, by who, why it was created. It was created by the people for the people. The parental choice program was created by the people and for the people. Due to segregation issues and them making boatloads of money off of our black babies, transporting them. So much to the point where Polly Williams said, hey man, listen, this ain't gonna work. Let us have our own district. Her and Dr. Fuller. That's not going to work for us. Okay, well, guess what? Something got to shake. Based off of the families that I am serving and catering to, this is the information we're receiving. And we're telling you on behalf of them that something has to happen. Now, when you compare and contrast those times, during that time to now, is not a huge difference. Which is why we still need the program. Hello? We got to wake up and pay attention. The information is there. The choice is there. Now we are being threatened with our children's education. And we all know how hard it has been, education-wise, specifically in the city of Milwaukee. And if you are someone who don't have time to show up to parent-teacher conferences or to do pop-ups, or if you just don't have any children and haven't been inside of the school system, stepped a foot into the school in decades or years, let me be the first person to tell you, as an educator and a parent, that is needed. Let me be the first person to tell you why you should be asking questions when it comes to the type of school that your child goes to. Let me be the first person to tell you how impactful this can be with removing that choice. We have to, again, pay attention. Whether we want to or not, we can no longer, now I'm talking to us as a people, the accountability. We can no longer afford to be blind. We can no longer afford to not pay attention to what's being displayed right in front of our faces. I get it. It becomes too much work. You like, I got to look this up, look that up. Yeah, educate yourself. And if you don't feel like it, I'm going to do it for you. I wasn't there, but I can bring you the person who was. Shout out to Dr. Howard Fuller. Shout out to the late, great Polly Williams and everybody else who played a part in making sure that this happened. And for my generation specifically, the late 30s, early 40s, y'all most definitely should be listening up. Our children are still in grade school, middle school, and high school. And I know a lot of parents who benefit from the parental choice program. So again, if you are unaware of how this would affect you in the event a specific candidate was to be elected, I'm not talking about Crawley because Crawley is for parental choice. In the event a specific candidates, because it was multiple ones who wants to remove the parental choice program, understand how it's going to affect us all. Elections is tomorrow. If you are still undecided, that just means that you haven't done your homework enough. You got to pay attention to everything. And education is the biggest of them all. We are experiencing first-time college graduates in our family. You understand? You understand how important that is? And it all stems from us having a choice. I got a choice on what school I can send my child to, which means I have a choice on how their life is, which way it goes. Okay, I know my child is like this. I know we live in this environment. I know that if I keep my child in this environment, there's distractions. Again, not to say that white is right or that private schools is always better, because that's not necessarily the case, or even charter schools or public schools. Again, the point of it all is just so that we can have a choice. It's like being in a relationship and somebody lies. I always say, don't lie to me. Not because I want control over you, but because give me the option on how I want to respond. If you give me all the facts, I can work with that. If you give me the truth, not honesty, because honesty is dictated based off of how you feel. I don't want your honesty. I want the truth. If you lay the truth out in front of me, then I will know what to do, right? Choices. Choices. We have a choice in everything we do up until we don't, people. And they're showing you and telling you, oh yeah, I want to defund this, I want to do that. But by the way, I want to get rid of the parental program. And we just in here like, oh, okay, whatever that means. You benefit from it. Hello. You benefit from this program. So does your children. So as I leave you today, my call to action is, A, the primaries are tomorrow. Make sure you are making the best decision for you. Do not be blindsided by the rhetoric and by the fluff. Get your tail in there and go vote for David Crowley. Vote for whoever you feel is best. But I'm telling y'all, it's your play cousin here. We voting for DC, man. I don't care how you feel. Listen, you can have whatever issues. That means nothing. At the end of the day, he's homegrown. He know what time it is. He's been around where we've been at. He's tangible. You can touch him. He gonna pull up. We voting for DC. I want y'all to educate yourself, man. Continue to fight. Shout out to Dr. Howard Fuller for joining us today. He said he is out of the fight physically, but he is here to support us. So make sure y'all keep up the good fight. Tap in tomorrow. Again, we bringing the culture. Flyer John, man. If you from the crib, you know what time it is. We got Flyer John coming on, man. The number one when it comes to marketing and street promotion. Make sure y'all tap in 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow, Monday through Friday. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. Have a safe evening in Milwaukee. Peace.